Hello, everyone. I'm Kibin Alleyne, and today is Tuesday, December 19th. You are now watching Open, a program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to you. Don't forget to stay connected with us via social media at BronxNet TV. Before we dive into our program, BronxNet is thrilled to mark 30 years of positive impact in the Bronx. Our latest venture, the BronxNet Media and Technology Studios in the South Bronx, represents our most significant step yet in bridging the digital gap. However, we can't do it alone. We need your support. Your contribution ensures access to cutting-edge studios, top quality equipment, and professional development opportunities for individuals of all ages in the Bronx. Join us in shaping a brighter future in technology and media. Let's work together to make the Bronx a better place for everyone. Donate today at bronxnet.org/donate, and let's create a lasting impact together. For the first time since the height of the pandemic, elementary school students were required to take standardized tests, revealing the Bronx had the lowest literacy rates in all of New York City. 70% of Black and Latino students in the Bronx failed to show proficiency on both their English and math exams. Joining me to discuss the reasons for this finding and how their organization, City Year New York, aims to combat this is Senior VP and Executive Director Quamid Francis. Quamid, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks so much, Kevin. It's great to be here.
Now, can we first learn a little bit more about City Year, the organization? Can you tell us your overall goal and the mission of City Year?
Yeah, absolutely. So City Year is a trailblazing, youth-powered organization with a dual mission of, one, expanding educational equity for students furthest from opportunity, and developing diverse leaders who can work across lines of difference through our national service programming and in partnership with AmeriCorps. At City Year New York, our AmeriCorps members who we develop as student success coaches, serve across 17 community schools to create inclusive environments where all of our students can fulfill their potential and make an impact. Our student success coaches, their primary responsibilities are to, build strong trust and relationships with students and their families by providing kids a caring adult to show up for, to show up for them and advocate on their behalf, ensuring that their needs are met. They also support students' social, emotional, and academic learning by helping them overcoming challenges as they arise without disengaging from school. In addition, we provide kids fun reasons to show up, from after-school activities ranging from studio art to Lego robotics programming to incentive programs like attend dances for students with strong attendance records. Additionally, City Year New York is the lead community-based organization in 16 of our 17 partner schools, mostly concentrated in East New York, East Harlem, and of course the South Bronx.
So I want to talk about just, what are some challenges, City Year faces, I guess, in regard to education in New York City, but, particularly in the Bronx?
Yeah, well, as you mentioned at the top, District 7, one of the districts we're in, has one of the lowest literacy rates in all school districts across the city. And, that's a challenge for us. We see to it as part of our mission is to, build on the natural talents and gifts that our students bring to school. And part of that is, literacy success. But in order to get toward that success in terms of improving those literacy outcomes, you need access, right? And that's why we held one of the largest book fairs in all of the city a number of weeks ago to ensure that all parents, families, students have access to, to books, right? To begin and to do that work of reading and engaging with words and in storytelling outside of the classroom as well as inside of the classroom.
Now, can you tell us a little bit more about that book fair, actually, and, how was the turnout, and, what you hope people got from that experience?
Yeah, it was a huge turnout. I think we had over like 14,000 books. And, there was, close to or over 100 people there. A lot of great just momentum that was felt, in the building. People excited that they have access to all these resources that they typically don't. And, something that's, particular about City or New York is we support schools that are traditionally resource starved. So it's no secret why, we are in District 7. So yeah, the turnout was great, and we're happy to know that that's a catalytic opportunity to create conditions for educational success and outcomes as it relates to literacy.
Now, I think these are amazing opportunities that are being, had in the Bronx because as I mentioned, standardized test results show that 70% of New York City's Black and Latino students struggle with math and of course reading. These results come after pandemic learning. So, how did the pandemic affect student learning?
Well, it certainly exacerbated it, right? The research says that, when students are connected to at least one caring adult, they're likely to thrive socially, emotionally, as well as academically. And so, what the pandemic resulted in is the removal of that connection in the classroom in an academic setting. And so you can do really interesting things with technology, virtual learning, so on and so forth. But there's nothing that substitutes that in-person interaction, that in-person connection that students have, especially with their city year near peer coach. And so what we've realized is that there's been long-standing challenges as it relates to literacy and math, curricular and instruction at schools, but the pandemic illuminated the different barriers that students from areas like the South Bronx face on a daily basis. Those barriers to their that enables their learning and development. And so one of the things that we've been incessantly focused on is how do we figure out what is the baseline right now coming out of the pandemic, and how can we continue to marshal our resources to ensure that all students are supported in the way that they deserve to be.
Now, I'm curious to know what did City Year look like during the pandemic, and how did it affect how you were able to reach out to these students, or was there a pause on that, and could that also have impacted their education level?
Yeah. So, one of the things that is unique about City Year is our agility. Because we have the strength of our human capital relative to other community-based organizations who are also doing great work. Our AmeriCorps members, student success coaches, these are 18 to 25-year-olds. Most of them around age 22, 23, have a college degree, and they are more closer in age to the students than their teachers are. And so that bond and that near peer model that is unique to City Year um, allowed for students to connect with their coaches, City Year coaches, during the pandemic in a virtual setting. And we were able to uncover various different things that are going on in the home and how we might meet those needs, whether it's raising funds to provide food, basic needs in the household to our families, things that have grown since the pandemic has been declared over. So our ability to rapidly mobilize and shift how we do our learnings through the partnership with and generous support of our corporate sponsors allowed us to not miss a beat really, even in a virtual setting.
Now, when we talk about the Bronx in regard to pretty much anything, we tend to talk about it as like the entire Bronx. But in this situation, it is particularly District 7 that is struggling, in education in regard to math and reading. So, why do you think this particular area is falling behind in education? And what are some things that maybe we're not seeing that's happening in the area that's resulting in these low scores in math and reading?
Yeah, well, there are different determinants to this situation, and in District 7 in the South Bronx, in particular, um, you have to focus on the whole entire ecosystem, right? What are the health outcomes? What are the educational outcomes for sure? What is the take up rate for social services in that district, right? And so you have a whole host of issues that are compounded and really concentrated in District 7. And so that has a material effect on a child's learning and development, right? And they bring all those different issues and challenges with them to the classroom, and that's where we are able to uncover those challenges. And that's the beauty of community schools, right? Because it works. It serves as that one-stop shop whereby families and students can get all of their needs met, right? For example, we know that close to 90% or so of the parents of our students qualify for or at or below the federal poverty limit. We know that about 90% of our students qualify for free or reduced lunch. So those are huge data points that allows us to assess, okay, what types of resources and what volume of resources and what's the pacing of resources that we need to provide. And we're able to do so with those data points. And so, that these areas are areas that are traditionally historically resource starved, and again the pandemic has only illuminated those barriers, that's particular to these to the South Bronx.
Now, you kind of talked about community schools, and I want to know what are the long-term benefits of kind of being in an area that has community schools and having programs like City Year in these communities that struggle with education. And as you mentioned, for a very long time, long before the pandemic, this has been a issue that we've seen historically in low-income Black and Latino neighborhoods. So, what are the benefits of having something like City Year in these neighborhoods?
Yeah, I'll start with community schools first. So, studies have shown that, community schools with that have a community school model, the students are more likely, I think, 5 percentage points higher than non-community schools to graduate than those without community schools. Nationally, schools with City Year are 2 to 3 times more likely to improve on math and English assessments. I could tell you in City Year, New York in particular, as it relates to literacy, we've increased in our partner schools sixfold the proficiency rate in literacy over the past couple of years. In math, we've increased it fourfold in the past couple of years. And in addition to that, um, one of the ways that assess our own abilities is through our administrator and teacher surveys. And 98% of our partners teachers agree that our student success coaches, a City Year model, has fostered a positive learning environment and have contributed to the material effects, the improvement of literacy rates and math rates in their partners in our schools. And so the evidence is there; it's overwhelming. Community schools work. What student success coaches do in community schools work, and it's something that should be scaled, citywide for sure, and absolutely statewide.
Now, can you quickly just let us know how does City Year assist with education while building community in schools that they work with? Because I think that's very important.
Yeah, so I mean, we have in-class instruction. So one of the things that we do is our coaches are paired with our teachers, and so whatever the teachers' instructions are in terms of a particular lesson plan, our student success coaches are able to model that walking around the classroom and in demonstrating or re-emphasizing the learning that's being had and that's being taught by the teachers. In addition, we run after-school programmings, right? And so the same homework assignments or whatever particular assignment there may be, our student success coaches are running those after school tutoring sessions to reinforce those learnings that happen in the classroom, helping our students with their homework such that when they go home, they don't even have to worry about it. And then, once they're done with their homework, we have different fun activities, again, to make learning fun.
Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us and kind of giving us a little insight on why we're seeing this in the Bronx. So, thank you.
Thanks so much, Kibin. Take care.
If you would like to learn more about City Years New York's effort, please go to their website, www.cityyear.org/new-york, or follow them on social media at City Year New York. Don't go away, we'll be back with more Open right after this.